Hi, I'm Mike Elliott, and you're watching a CEO Live executive interview with Dr. Bruce Bedrick, CEO of MedBox Inc., ticker symbol MDBX. MedBox is a leader in the development, sales, and service of automated, biometrically controlled dispensing and storage systems for medicine and merchandise. MedBox provides their patented systems, software, and consulting services to pharmacies, dispensaries, urgent care centers, drug rehab clinics, hospitals, prison systems, hospice facilities, and medical groups worldwide. MedBox Inc. is a publicly traded company, and it's listed on the OTC markets under ticker symbol MDBX. Good afternoon, Dr. Bedrick. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Michael. Thanks for having me.
It's been a big year so far for MedBox, which included an announcement last month that you have filed to become the first fully reporting company in the legalized marijuana industry. But before we get into that, could you distinguish for us MedBox's core business and growth strategy in the traditional pharmaceutical industry versus the medical marijuana industry?
Yes, Mike, I can. Thank you very much for that big question and the great intro. Essentially, our fundamental business and our core business in both of these industries is founded upon our technology. We have patents that say, on one hand, you want to automate the dispensing of a prescription pharmaceutical or herb, but you have to marry that to a tracking database because you can't put in 25 cents into a gumball machine and expect to get antibiotics out. It just doesn't work like that. So it's the blend of the automated dispense with the tracking database with some other tighter security measures like biometrics involved. And so this technology and these patents have given us a tremendous amount of product and technology that have created niches and amazing value propositions in both the marijuana industry and traditional pharmaceutical industry. In the marijuana industry, we have the safest, most secure, most legally compliant way to store, inventory control, and dispense the herb because the technology sits behind the counter. It acts as an inventory control and, as I just said, a dispensing machine for the staff of the dispensary. This particular business model has also led us to become the most successful medical marijuana consultants in the industry. We have become very knowledgeable in the industry. We've become very successful. And with this core focus of being the best consultants, meaning we help take people from ground zero, literally through turnkey dispensary, providing them technology and consulting services. We have made tremendous relationships in government levels, from departments of health and legislators and law enforcement to all types of people within the industry. And we really want to grow to become not just technology providers, but also service providers. And we want to essentially, from an economical perspective, roll up the industry with other brands and other services as the industry continues to grow. On the traditional side, the traditional pharmaceutical and healthcare side of our business, what we believe we have in our technology is going to literally evolve the way every single man, woman, and child, certainly in our country, if not the continent, interacts and acquires their prescription medications. It doesn't matter whether you're at a doctor's office or at a retail pharmacy or at a hospital or in a hospice or a prison system. The technology that we have does 3, if not 4 major things. Number one, it makes it more cost effective for whatever company that acquires our equipment to do their job. Number 2, it's safer and more secure than any particular process that's going on in the pharmaceutical drug delivery system today. And 3, it is more convenient to utilize our technology than any current system. And number 4, depending upon the model and the vertical within the traditional pharmaceutical industry, such as retail pharmacy, we believe our technology can actually drive greater sales. And so with that in mind, we believe we're going to not only evolve and improve the lives of everybody, literally on the planet, but make a significant and have a significant value proposition for all of these verticals in traditional pharma.
And you covered some of and gave a great lead into my next question, actually, which is could you tell us a little bit more about the dispensary management division MedBox is developing and what market potential you see for those services?
That's a good question. Yes, in dispensary management on the medical marijuana side, right now everybody has to understand that there's still a rift between the feds and the state law enforcement folks. And until there is a reconciliation between the federal government and state governments, I would say generating revenues from the sale, production, or transfer of medicines is not a wise move. And so we govern ourselves as such. And now with the onset of emerging states, since we had obviously the election in November where the states of Washington and Colorado are now going outright legalization, a lot of these other states, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and the like, are actually now evolving and having actual real discussions about passing tightly regulated medical marijuana opportunities within their states. And as such, it is a perfect opportunity for us to help out our clients and other clients who want to actually get in and run dispensaries. We can provide management services along those lines.
And that really, I think, kind of almost answers my next question in the sense of how you position yourself. My next question was, what insight could you give us about how MedBox is positioning itself in the legalized medical marijuana market in terms of leveraging the recent moves by individual states toward legalization?
Well, I think clearly that the most difficult part of acceptance is behind us. More and more states in the next few years will bring on hopefully more tightly regulated medical marijuana laws, and it'll create a tremendous opportunity for MedBox as the leader in the industry to roll up the industry and in lots of different facets that essentially corporations and brands and people in the industry are doing what's called ancillary services. There's a tremendous opportunity in doing quote unquote ancillary services. And we view ourselves as the leader, and our goal, is to coin the phrase, we want to be the General Motors of medical marijuana or the marijuana industry. So we see ourselves as a consolidator of the industry and doing a lot of roll-ups and acquisitions to position ourselves in the right place and time for when the final stage occurs, which is the reconciliation between the feds and the state. Once that happens, the floodgates will open, and our company, as well as any other company, needs to be properly capitalized and properly positioned in this industry to capitalize on the production and distribution channels later on down that road at that time. So now it's revenues that don't, revenue generation from ancillary services and non-medical based or non-marijuana based revenues in terms of ancillary services and products, and rolling up the industry and being a leader until phase 3 happens.
Okay, and last question, and this one I think you're uniquely positioned to give us some real insight on. In your opinion, what is the outlook for this industry over the next few years in terms of other states' willingness to follow the lead of California and Washington, and ultimately the federal government's willingness to reclassify and probably legalize marijuana?
Right, yeah, and I don't want to make a correction here, but my hope is that the other states don't follow California. California is an example of what not to do. They have chosen not to regulate their industry. I believe that what's going to happen is clearly, as I said, this industry is, certainly, if you look at the graph, we're heading in that direction, or based on how you're looking, it's that direction. Mm-hmm. But we're at the very nascent stages. We're in only a handful of states where there's a really tightly regulated system of operation. I expect that to grow even next year alone. I think in 2014, you'll see New York, you'll see Illinois, you'll see Nevada, which already has licensure, but they're going to go to a regulated system. I think potentially you'll see other states jump on board. And in the next 3 to 4 years, you're going to get, it's building a huge head of steam right now. It's a big snowball effect, and it's growing and growing and growing like a weed, as they say.
Dr. Bedrick, that is all the questions I had for today. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we close?
No, that's it. I really appreciate you having me on. And in closing, if anybody is to see that, you have to understand that we're not just a medical marijuana play, but we are a true play across multiple industries, both in traditional pharma and in marijuana. And I think the value proposition of what MedBox brings to the table is second to none.
Dr. Bedrick, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Michael.
You've been watching a CEO Live executive interview with Dr. Bruce Bedrick, CEO of MedBox, ticker symbol MDBX. To find out more about MedBox, please visit their website at www.thedispensingsolution.com. Thank you.